Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's March 19th.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back. There we go. I always forget the volume parts. Welcome back. If you're here live, say hello in the chat. If you're watching the replay, I'm really glad you found this because this is one of those conversations that people don't always realize they need to have until they hear it. Today we're talking about something that sits underneath estrangement, something deeper than the conflict itself. It's identity. More specifically, who are you after estrangement? Because estrangement doesn't change your relationships. It changes how you see yourself. And for many parents, that shift is one of the hardest parts to name. If this resonates with you at any point, subscribe so that you can see future videos. Turn on the notifications so that you get notified when I'm going live. It'll show up in your notifications list. And share this with somebody who you think might need it, because there are so many of us out there that aren't talking, that haven't opened up, that haven't said the words. And those words, as hard as they are to say, they're so important, because that is your first step at healing. If you're new here, this is a space for people navigating estrangement and alienation. Parents, adults, children, anyone living inside complicated family relationships. No judgment, no attacking, just honesty. And I always say this because it matters. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a professional. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a mom walking through this, just like many of you. So, hi. And thanks for joining me. When we talk about identity, most people think about personality, values, and beliefs. But identity is more than that. It's also roles, meaning, purpose, and how you define yourself in the world. You've been just a mom. Maybe you've been a stay-at-home mom this entire time. All of a sudden now, maybe because of divorce, maybe because of kids just leaving, or adults, not necessarily kids, but depends on their age. But all of a sudden, maybe now you're just a wife, or maybe you're just somebody in a house and you don't know how to become that next person, that new chapter. Open the book to the next chapter. Learn what you want that next chapter to be. It should be so exciting. Yes, there's pain behind us, but there's also a future ahead of us. And for parents especially, identity is deeply tied to being a mother or father. Not just a title, but a function. You show up, go to the games, go to their schools, meet their girlfriends, meet their friends, tend to their boo-boos, teach them how to ride a bike. There's so many things that parents do And it's tied to who we are. We chose that. They didn't, but we did. Sadly, they have the choice to walk away. We don't have the choice to change our minds now that it's 18 or 20 or 25 years later. We did it. We made the choice. Had I known this was a possibility, I might have made a different choice. I don't know. But we build a life around that role with them. So when estrangement happens, it doesn't just remove a relationship, it disrupts our identity, who we are, who we've been for years. From the moment that baby is born to the moment that door slams in your face, we are their mother or their father. One of the first things estrangement takes is that role. Not just physically, but psychologically. You're no longer the person that they call, the one they share with, the one they turn to. And that creates something many parents struggle to name: role confusion. You may still feel like a parent, but you're not allowed to be one. They won't let you in the way that you were. Let you at all. Some of us, myself included, have said, that's it. I'm not a mom. The last 37 years, obviously, I was in a dream, because how could I have ever have spent that much time being something that isn't anymore? Makes me think of the movie Dallas, where the whole season was written off because of a dream, or was that Knots Landing? Dating myself, and that creates an internal contradiction. I am still their parent, but I don't have a place in their life. And that tension can feel incredibly destabilizing, because identity needs expression. And when a role is removed without closure, it leaves a void. I always explain that my heart is torn into 4 pieces. Each one of them have their own piece. And I have a little bit left over for me and for my husband. But the other 4 pieces, 3 pieces, belong to each one of them. And it doesn't beat the same way. It doesn't feel the same way. It doesn't work the same way. It almost feels at times that it's just stopped. There's a huge void. There's another way to describe it. Oh, this one might be an emotional one. Sorry, guys. They're like an arm or a leg, hold up my hand, an arm or a leg, and I'm now walking around on one leg with no arms because they took the other parts with them. It doesn't matter to them. They don't really care. I've said it to them. Makes no difference. There's no empathy. There's no compassion. It's just what they want. What we want doesn't matter. Along with that role comes purpose. For many parents, purpose is built around showing up, supporting, guiding, and protecting. Now, if I could show up, luckily, I'm moved 5,000 miles away, 6,000 kilometers, whatever the difference is. I can't just show up. But I did. I've been home. I've been back to Ontario 3 times. I saw one son, barely, but not one of them reached out to me. I had to reach out to them. And pretty much worse, the one to, I was in the hospital. I had a broken collarbone and I had to go back for surgery. So they had to come and get me from the hospital, or he did, not willingly. I still support him because I know my older son is going through trouble with his daughter with custody, and I watch to see what's happening. I know he's waiting a newborn baby, so I'm watching to see if I find out the baby's been born. I'm still supporting him. I'm still feeling the support from him and his family. Am I guiding him? Well, not really, but I did ask him a question this morning, which I know he won't respond to. And it was after I did a little bit of research. And the research that I did was, well, let me start with the question. The question I asked him was, do you like the person that you are? Like the human being that you are, not the things you do, not the work you do, not the way you act, the person, your morals, your values, the things that make you who you are. Because in the first 7 to 10 years of their life, that's when that part is formed in them. Once they hit their teenage years, they become a little bit more free, and their friends are got a little bit more pressure on them to try this or try that or do this or do that. So they do, and that changes some of the things that they have as core values. Am I still protecting him? Am I protecting them? Not physically, but I feel like my heart still protects them because they have it. It has to protect them. That's the way it works. My heart is with them. So when estrangement happened, that purpose doesn't disappear. Clearly, it becomes unused. It becomes partially unused, I guess. It becomes unseen to them, unnoticed. An unused purpose turns into restlessness, sadness, confusion, sometimes even emptiness. And we all have days like that. Some of us have more than we would like. You may find yourself asking, what do I do with all of this now? All the care, all the love, all the instinct to show up. Because it doesn't just turn off. Well, I have dogs, so they get my care and my love, and I'm there for them. That's not the same thing. Some people might say it's better, but because they can't leave me until the end, but it's not the same. I didn't give birth to them. I didn't teach them how to walk and talk and eat, get their first tooth, lose their first tooth, go to school for the first time. Graduate. Things that we miss at this age are weddings, births of their children. For some, estrangement leads to something deeper, identity collapse. And that just might describe me. Because I'm still trying to figure out who I am, besides a wife and a dog mother. How many others of you are in the same boat? How many wonder, where does it go from here? This is where the loss of role and the purpose starts affecting how you see yourself entirely. Questions begin to surface. Was I a good parent? Did I fail? Who am I without them? If I look back on my life with them, because they were into sports and into my oldest was into scouts, we always had people around us that were their friends' parents. We also had our own friends who were around, and they had kids who played a very important role in their life growing up. And I guess by moving this far away from everything, a lot of that changes. But for those of you that are still in this close proximity to your estranged child, those parents still exist. They're still around the corner. Those kids that your son or daughter hung out with are still close by. And those parents or those people that were your friends, some might be around, some might not, because not everybody understands, even though they may have watched firsthand that you were a good mom or a good dad. These aren't surface questions. These are core identity questions. There's an important truth. Estrangement doesn't automatically define your worth. It can feel like it does, because identity is tied to relationship feedback. And when that feedback disappears, self-doubt base. How many of you felt confident, right? You'd walk somewhere with your kids in the mall, in a park, at a playground. You just felt confident. Your head was up, you were happy. These are your kids and you're proud of them. Or how about that phone call you got? Your kids spent a day with their friends and their mother calls you and says, you know what, your son is a really good kid. You did a good job, Mom. You did the job you were supposed to do, Dad. But why don't they recognize it? How can they just forget all of that? It didn't disappear overnight. Another layer people don't talk about enough is how others respond. People ask, how are your kids? They're okay, I guess. Do you see them often? Not at all. And how do they respond to that if you even answer the truth? Some of us make it up. Oh, they're great. My son has a 8-year-old daughter. She's doing fabulous in school. She's got another baby on the way. His job is great. My other son is this. My other son is that. You don't see them very often because they're busy. They're working. They don't get time to come down here. And you know what? I don't really have the space for them to stay here. So we get a chance. Suddenly you're put in a position of explaining something deeply, deeply painful or avoiding it altogether. There isn't a word in the dictionary that I can think of that explains the pain, the anger, the sadness, the loss, the change, the feelings, everything. It's all in this big, like a ball of wool that is just gotten to by the cat and destroyed. Something you can never knit with again, never crochet with again because it's so messed up. Because you can't find one end of one part and lead to the other end. This creates social discomfort, isolation, and shame. But you did nothing wrong. Unless you were abusive, unless you took your child outside back and beat him senseless, there's consequences. Yes, there's discipline. Yes. But then there's abuse. And there's a difference. And I know there are parents out there that are saying, no, discipline is a timeout chair. No, discipline is a smack on the ass. Well, you know what? Different views, different ways of doing it. Doesn't mean either one of them are wrong. And over time, many parents begin to withdraw. Not because they want to, but it's easier than explaining. Then the shift ends. Because while estrangement disrupts identity, it also creates space to rebuild it. Maybe. I know these are things that I'm telling you. I have to convince myself of it as well. So keep that in mind. I am still a mom. I am still going through the same things that you are. Not by replacing your role as a parent. I thought about adopting. Too old for that. But by expanding who you are beyond it. I have a business. I have a couple businesses that keep me going, but it's not the same. Rebuilding identity is not about forgetting your children. It's about asking, who am I? In addition to being that parent. That might include creativity. That's me. I do a lot of creative work. I have stuff right here. So here's one little creature. I don't know if you can see him very well, but this is resin art, and this is if I put it right up to the camera. No, that won't. He's a little dinosaur, and his texture is like knitted. And so I have lots of things that I do. So right here beside me this is my resin station. There I have a painting station because I paint as well. And in my office I have a sewing machine, and downstairs I have a laser machine. So I have plenty to keep me busy. So I'm creative. Work always keeps you busy. Friendships, new friendships, personal growth, taking a class in something, learning something new, yoga, Pilates, spiritual exploration. Now I've been down that road. I'm still down that road, following it very closely. I've learned how to read tarot cards. I use a pendulum, and I can tell. Uh, I can ask questions and get answers for people. It's not about moving on. And you just heard me rhyme off, 8 different things about what I'm doing. I can even see a ball of yarn sitting over there with a crochet hook sitting out of it. So there's always something that we can do to fill the void. And it's not about moving on, expanding. There's an important distinction. Letting your identity grow does not mean you love them less. You've given up. You've stopped caring. It means you've allowed yourself to exist fully again. So when you were pre-baby, pre-husband, who were you? Teenager, young adult, mid maybe? You had goals, you had aspirations, you had plans for your life. Doesn't mean those have to disappear. They can resurface. No one's ever too old to go back to school. There's people out there that are in their 80s that go back to school. So why not? The world is a little chaotic right now, but that doesn't mean you have to stop. One of the most important parts of healing identity is learning to hold two truths at the same time. I am still their parent. I'm still their mother. And I'm a damn good mother if they're listening. That chance. And I am more than just a parent. Both can exist. Both can be true. Identity begins to stabilize again. It's figuring out what you want personally to be other than a parent. And I think I started this out by saying that I began my life young. I was 16, 15, and that was, I wanted to be a mother. And I wanted to be a stay-at-home mother. Raise my kids, homeschool my kids. That was my goal. I didn't. I got a job. First I went back to school because I divorced my husband, so I couldn't stay at home. I had to get a job. I went back to school. I got my driver's license. I got a job. And I went through the ranks in that job. Started as a customer service rep and went all the way up to the director of client services. And I did it twice in 2 different jobs. For me, those jobs don't exist here. But they do for you. Unless you're living on the same island with me. In which case, where are you? Once you figure out what that identity could be, and it's endless. You want to be a clown in a circus? Be a clown in a circus. You want to be the VP of a corporation? Then be a VP of a corporation. There's absolutely nothing stopping you. You've got the time. You've got the power. You've got the willpower. And you've got the brains. If you feel comfortable, type in the chat. What is one part of me I've lost is blank, and fill in the blank. And then secondary, one part of me that I'm rediscovering is blank, and fill in the blank. And if you're watching later, write it in the comments. We all have an opportunity The one thing that I did, and journaling, but as I wrote my memoir, it's jumbled because what I would do is I would record things that came to memory and it would translate it into text. So I have over 80,000 words that I now have to go back and organize, which obviously is going to take a little while to do. And it's not necessarily for somebody, it was for me to understand the patterns in my life that I've gone through, the identities that I've had over the years, and to remember things, because there's things that come up that you've forgotten. I had a phone call with a friend the other day who told me that she had come to my cottage. I don't remember it at all. She was very specific. So, yes, she'd been there, but I don't remember it. So, there's so much up here, so much that stuff is falling out. Time to pull it back in. Time to remember who you are. Time to look at those kids and go, you know what? Yeah, I'm your mom, but I'm not only your mom. There's one thing I want you to take from today. It's this: estrangement may change your role, but it does not erase who you are. You are still capable of love. You are capable of connection. You are capable of purpose, even if that purpose looks different now. Identity is not fixed, it evolves. And even through loss, you're still becoming. We go through so many evolutions in our life, whether it's jobs, school, family. There's different chapters, every part of it. We just closed a chapter. Let's write the next one. Right, every year I used to write a New Year's post on Facebook. Okay, the last year I did blah 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 blah. This year, you have no idea what we're going to do, but I got plans. I haven't had that desire in several years. Well, maybe it's time to bring it back. Maybe it's time to be who I was. So if you like this content, if you want to join me, if you ever want to join me, let me know. Love to hear your story. Love to talk to you about your story. If you are an expert in the field, if you are a life coach or a family counselor, estrangement is and alienation. I want to keep the two of them together. Although they're different, they apply, in some cases, like mine, to the same thing. But I'd love to have you on. And you know what? Maybe that would be one step to making a new friend. Someone who you could talk to about the things that you can't talk to anybody else about. We have another session tomorrow, 11 o'clock, 5. had the name of it, but I can't remember what it is now. I am so sorry. But the post will be up later this afternoon. Don't forget to join us. And if you're still here, click that thumbs up button to say, yes, this was good. Share this with anybody who you think might need it. Click that subscribe button and the notification bell to be told when we're live again. And enjoy a fantastic day. Go out and make somebody smile. Thanks. Follow us on Facebook too. If you look for what does estrangement look like, you find this logo, you'll find us. Bye.